guys are ready? Nice. And time. Judges, welcome and lovely to meet you all. I'm Diana, a brewer representing Norway, and I will take you guys for a trip to a beautiful country in South America, Peru. We'll go to a district called Lonia Grande in Amazonas, and we'll find a farm called Santa Teresa, and the owner and his family, Andres Torres Goicochea. His family are specializing in different kinds of coffee varieties. But when I tasted this coffee on the cupping board, I was so surprised to see that a natural geisha type was so delicate and juicy, yet complex in the flavors. So I was really intrigued about this process came to be. So I got connected to his farm, and they were more than happy to share their knowledge about this coffee. Since it's a natural, it's been carefully handpicked, washed, removed the dust, and the unripe berries, and then put into fermentation tank for 72 hours. Now, that reaction creates fermentation in the tanks, and that creates a sugar into the beans, and we get the juicy, fruity notes of it. After that, it will put into tents, protected by UV lights, and then dried for 70 Celsius between 30 to 40 days. The days varies because of the development time, but that way they have a really steady development. So that enhances more on the aromas and the flavors. So when I heard about the fermentation of the berries, believe me, it was just out of this world. The flavor was just so amazing. We'll talk more about the coffee, but first let's start with the fun part, the brewing. I have chosen two types, the dripper and the filter. Both is from Coffee, a Japanese brand. And I've chosen this filter because I like to brew in a cone-shaped kind of dripper. The angle gives me really steady kind of stream, but enhance more of the body and smoothness of it. The texture inside of it as well, flower petals. That way, the filter won't be able to stick on the side, and it has a bit extra space for the blooming part on the coffee bed. Plus the materials as well, ceramic, it keeps the heat really well throughout the brewing. The second is the filter. It is also from Coffee, and it's a filter made for professional brewers. And if we can see through the light, it almost has no patches between. That way they have been making a much more uniform kind of texture, where the easy layers have a bigger kind of space, so you have a faster extractions. So let's start with the brewing. The recipe is as follows. We have 50 grams of coffee, grinded medium coarse, so around 800 microns, which I think is a fitting kind of texture, not too fine, so it doesn't have too long kind of brewing time, but not too coarse either, so it doesn't go way too fast. Shaking it evenly so that each of the grains is being coated. Yes. The first pour is 50 grams of water, and let it bloom for 35 seconds. The first pour is to open up the flavors, but also to release the gases of it as well. The second pour, 75 grams of water, and let it brew for 40 seconds. Now, that second pour, I will keep steady pouring into the middle. Where the bubbles is coming from, that's where I want to focus. That's where I find the sweetness and notes of it, of the coffee. And third and last pour, 95 grams of water. And I'm gonna let it brew up to 55 seconds. So total amount is 220 grams, and estimated brewing time is 2 minutes and between 10 to 15 seconds. The last pour is the biggest, but I'm using that still pouring in the middle, not to create any kind of turbulence in the coffee bed. But since the weight is really heavy, I'm using that pressure of the water to enhance more of the balance and structure into the cup in the brew. The water is Aira. It's a Norwegian kind of water. It's a really good water base of 6 ppm. But I wanted to challenge myself on the calcium and magnesium, where we find it binding really sweet, juicy notes in the coffee. So I enhanced the minerality from 6 ppm up to 85 ppm. The coffee was also roasted in our own roastery in Norway. And I have a wonderful team roasting with me. We knew what the coffee was tasting on the cupping board, but we wanted to enhance a much more deeper sweetness, almost caramelized and really ripe, juicy flavors. So the coffee has been roasted on 3 minutes and 26 seconds, up to 216 Celsius. Short and high. But high enough to caramelize the sugar in the coffee, and short enough to keep the brightness and the acidity of the coffee. Now judges, let's go to the flavor descriptions. So when you guys are ready, let's write down the first part in the aroma. It's medium high. And we'll find hints of cardamom, caramelized brown sugar, and red berries. When I'm serving at the server, please stir around 3 times to have the best experience of the aroma. There you go, sir. There you go, ma'am. There you go, sir. Thank you. Are you guys ready for me to take the server? Thanks so much. Let's go over to flavor. From hot to warm, we'll find papaya, apricot, and a fruit called lucuma. It's a Peruvian fruit located deep in the Amazonas and has a sweetness and creamy texture of caramel and sweet potato. From warm to cold and turn into a candied strawberry, golden berry, and red apple, and purple plum compote. The aftertaste is medium high. From hot to warm, we'll find orange cordial, red grape juice, and red apple. From warm to cold, and it turns into a lingonberry juice, goldenberry, and roasted almonds. The acidity is medium high. From hot to warm, you find malic acid of red grapes and cherries, as well as tartaric acid of papaya and red apple. From warm to cold, and turn into citric acid, still sweet and tart, and we'll find hint of pomelo fruits and grapefruit. The sweetness is really sweet, concentrated, reminds of like a fruit compote, but for more like a distinctive flavors, we find papaya, like really juicy ripe fruit, and a yellow berry note such as goldenberry. The mouthfeel is medium and high, long, juicy, lingering, reminds of a nectar juice. It's really thick in the consistency. Overall, it's a high quality Peruvian coffee. It's a delicate, complex, yet refreshing, with almost every single of the aromas are working well together and creates a harmony in the cup. I hope you guys have enjoyed my presentation, and please enjoy the rest of the day and have fun. Thank you so much for me. Time.